Okay, guys, what's up? Make a video midday, uh, just because market's getting a little more quiet. Um, Not a whole lot to do right now, uh, besides, our sub 30-cent penny stocks are going nuts. So, I mean, if you like to go long, pennies, pennies this year, especially the past month, but this year has just been insane. Like, the cleanest long moves you've ever seen in your life. Just 5 minute flag, clean soak, obvious support levels, clean tape. The volume is just consistent, consistent, consistent. Insane follow through in the pre-market, insane follow through in market open. Um, Clean daily levels. Again, go check out Mikey Underdog's channel. Um, He literally longed LIFW at 9 cents before the squeeze yesterday. Big size too. Absolutely killed it. Um, Great tape reads, great use of the daily. So go check him out. I'll focus on the only low float, not penny stock that ran today, which is NEPT. I guess AVGR also ran. That thing's still going. Hard fading as of right now, but um, that's on its multi-day run, uh, losing liquidity. But I want to point out this chart. So NEPT. If you watched my video yesterday, I talked about pre-market action and how BJDX had steady accumulation with nice consistent volume. But also in that video, I said, hey, a lot of times in the pre-market, when stocks just pop on 2 or 3 candles, a lot of times those stocks don't have follow through, right? Again, they're abusing the order book. Sometimes there's a second push, but a lot of times it does stuff like this: pushes 1 minute 9, failed rotate, and then you get a deep fade. And also, just like at the end of the video yesterday, I talked about AVGR. I said, hey, on very manipulated tiny float stocks, a lot of stocks that show insane weakness into the open can be very strong, right? Because sub million, 1 million float stocks, sub 2 million float stocks, very counterintuitive patterns. And also NEPT. NEPT is really, this ticker specifically is really important because you always want to remember that tickers that are consistently insanely manipulated every time they run. I mean, this ran back in the day. Um, this day on August 18th had very similar rigged price action. NEPT is just one of those tickers where it's uh, you can expect games on it almost right away. So when I saw this uh, deep pullback, I was like, I wonder if they're gonna do something with that. I wonder if they're gonna try to move this ticker in some way, um, because I know what type of price action this ticker type tends to trade. Uh, and I saw the market open volume. I saw like 100K, 100K, which isn't super impressive to begin with. Um, but I saw big bid support in the 440s. And this stock was on SSR. So a lot of times with SSR, it's easier to see where shorts are trying to get in, where they're trying to short, where they're trying to sell, because the ask just fills up. And this had some pretty decent sized ask, um, even though the volume was quite low. And then on this candle, I was like, you know what? Let's see if it rotates through this 4.6 level. Uh, See if it does anything there. And I noticed like on this candle, it was just nothing but taking out these like just 2K, 5K, 10K ashes up, 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 pulls back, and I'm like, if it pushes again, um, I'll actually take a long on this. It isn't a massive size, but it's one of these plays that has big potential. So I actually long this at 933. Um, on the 4.6 reclaim at 462 because I was like, this is a classic rigged, bottomed out, make it look like, look, this is nothing but an hour and a half of down only. No, that made me really pissed I didn't at least short this candle. If I saw weakness on the tape on this candle, above this 6.2, 6.27, and saw it reject, I would have just shorted this right away, and that would have been the most painless fade. Like, I almost couldn't believe how weak this was, but then I was like, you know what, I'll wait till market open. Um, so yeah, uh, again, I made a few more callouts on this. Did I screenshot? I don't think I screenshot it, but very similar to BJDX, that the volume started coming in, and like I said, you always need to consist. If a tiny float stock's going to be rigged, especially once super bottomed out like this, the volume needs to be there, right? I used to see VWAP rejects like this, but if these VWAP rejects happened on like 100, 150k volume, there'd almost be no chance of some manipulated token follow through. But what I saw here was 300, 50k, 300k, 377. You got consistent volume. It pulls back. They reject VWAP the first time, reject it again, and of course this is classic short trap candle. Like this is almost 500,000 shares. Because again, for rig stocks, you want to shake out retail longs, and if retail longs see this big push, a pullback, and then another easy to read push, too obvious. Like the more obvious the long, the less likely it is to work. Unless the Momo and the volume, again, look at the pennies for something that's a little more clean in terms of momentum, in terms of volume. But in a low liquidity small cap environment, you need to do stuff like this. You need to shake out longs. You need to lure in shorts, that type of thing. And so I was long 462. I think I did take. See if I can show you. See, I went long at 933, 462. And I actually held through this pullback. I sold some in the fives. I held through the pullback. And I was like, that's a classic fake VWAP resistance candle. And I liked the volume. If the volume wasn't there, I would just be like, this is weak. Whatever. Screw this play. But putting the factors of the tiny float and the volume, the consistent volume, the accumulation, I held through it. I just risked down here in the low 440s. And what's really happened, it started to bottom out. And on this candle, it was like hovering at 461, 462. And then the rigger market ordered it up to 5. It just teleported 40 cents. It actually pulled back down to the high 470s, 480s. And then they started pushing it. And I was really hoping this would squeeze. I'm like, man, this is so bottomed out. Maybe we at least get like 550s and then like 580s, like the volume. This is $5 stock, and I saw stuff like 500,000 shares coming in. And I saw this fake breakout in the soak. I'm like, oh man, maybe it just catches, gives a nice another bigger leg up, and I'll sell most of my long. And sadly, I missed the short again. When the long is too obvious, it tends to not work. So you have this big push, big rejection, it gets reclaimed. And usually when big rejections get reclaimed like this, it usually has to go. It gets rejected, soaks, and then almost instant squeezes. But instead of that, we get a bunch of hidden selling at this 5.3 flat top. We get a pullback, we get a big initiation, and then another like what I call a 1 minute flag, where it just consolidates for like 3, 4, 5 minutes. And again, like for retail, this is too obvious. It's like anybody who saw this big move and saw the volume came in, the market maker is just like inviting them, inviting. This is why the fake breakout works so well, because on manipulated tickers, it's too easy of a long to read. And I saw this candle, but because I was long, I had that bullish bias. And sometimes if you play long and short, this will happen where you're long a position, and if you're long, you're gonna, you have a bullish bias, and you have some understanding of volume and rig tickers, and you see the range to upside and that type of thing. And it causes you to have conviction, hold on to your long, and you get chart paint that you're so used to shorting, but your long bias kind of overrides what you would normally consider to be a bearish pattern. And then I just it pulled back, and I got stopped out on this candle, and I actually only made maybe 20, 25 cents on it. like total. So, and I didn't really trade anything else today. I did long LIFW for the 5 minute flag when it pushed to 30 cents at like 10 a.m. and that's about it. But what I want to talk about is this. Uh, this is your classic kind of liquidity trap where you get about again, you get about an hour of super low volume soak, and the low volume soak is important because you have to trap shorts, trying to catch the next legs down. You have to shake out longs, but also low volume soak like this often means there's not a whole lot of liquidity in the stock, right? They're just like it's if they're gonna do some type of trapping move, um, they can really only target one. They have to spend an hour soaking to do one liquidity squeeze, and usually that's it. Like there's no follow through. So here's the problem with my trade on this. I was like, man, um, the shares were a little expensive. I think they were like 12 cents, uh, and also because of the volume, especially on the pullbacks here. I saw the clear out this 5.4 level, 5.5. Saw the up only clear out, saw the pullback, and I started convincing myself why I shouldn't really take this trade, even though I knew the pattern was bullish. And I didn't screenshot my chat today, but I was saying again to my short buddies, I'm like, yeah, this is classic. You know, you get your aggressive clear out, and then you get a fake long pattern and a dump. But I was like, man, there was like these 10-cent spreads in here. It was SSR. The shares were kind of expensive. The range wasn't great. Like I knew the overall fade potential of this is really not amazing because it's so bottomed out. But that really just means I should have taken a scalper mentality on it because not only was this candle great, I mean, you could have tried shorting, up here above 5.5s. But I usually like to wait for a pullback. I like to see lower highs on the 1 minute get taken out. This is a great candle to short, again, above 5.5 or in the high 5.4s. And then right before the big dump move, what they did is they pulled it to the 1 minute 20, so it was in the low 520s. They had a big initiation, broke this lower high by a few cents. Um, it literally went from like 521 to 543 really quickly. So, a lot of times I call these candles do or die candles. I'm like, this is a do or die rotation. Either this is so aggressive that either this is the long trap or it needs to keep going up. Um, and I was like, I had my finger on the trigger on the borrows. I even had let's see if I can find. I even took a screenshot of my buddy. I was like, dude, I was like, um, uh, is there like no easy way to show it? I was like, dude, I had my limit set at 5.43. Like, just click borrow, try to short a limit order, and see if I get filled at 5.43 because that's around what this high was, and I just didn't do it. It cracked, it broke 5, and that could have been a nice 40-cent scalp. But this is a good liquidity pattern, right? This is understanding that. And by the way, this could keep squeezing. I wouldn't be surprised if NEPT just does some crazy afternoon thing, right? They're holding this lower trend line. It's clearly manipulated. There's tons of games on the level 2 in the ask, and stuff like that. So, um, yeah, I just want to talk about how, super bottomed out, manipulated tickers tend to push. Fake VWAP resistance on good volume, right? Tiny float. Um, Tons of manipulation on the bid in level 2. There was like 30k ass, 40k ass, like shoving things down, letting things go. There's tons of your classic games, and this is a nice little 1 hour liquidity squeeze in the dump, right? But since the range is low, in the SSR and the thinness, I didn't take it. End up being one of the easiest reads of of the day, honestly, short side. Such an easy read of like why this would top out, give up a few fake bullish patterns and pull. But yeah, as you see right now, it's kind of soaking, holding the lower trend line. Maybe we get a nice 6. I would love this squeeze. 6 or go to high day, do something crazy. I would love it. So, quick video, uh, quicker than my other ones, but um, yeah, interesting chart in a weaker market. So A lot of classic stuff going on here. So, all right, see you guys.